right, so now that we have some chords under our belt, we've got the caged along with A minor and E minor, we want to start bringing in this concept of strumming now. So we can start to put chords together with strumming so we can actually play songs, which is the ultimate goal. All right, now, before I begin anything, I just want to say a lot of beginners struggle with strumming. It's often neglected when it comes to playing rhythm guitar, but it's very important. And if you find yourself struggling with strumming, it's okay, you're not alone. Like everything else, it will take a little time to get comfortable and become a good strummer. Some people just have what they call natural rhythm, but most of us don't. And like everything else, you have to work at it a little bit. So don't get discouraged if it doesn't come right away, okay? It will. All right, so there's going to be several videos in this series, in this chapter, in your ebook there. And in this one, we're gonna start out by talking about just some good form, some good techniques that will follow you through all your strumming practices. And we'll talk briefly about signatures, and then I'm going to teach you 5 strumming patterns, 3 that can be used with songs in what's called 4/4 time, which is what most songs are written in, and then a couple of other ones that you can use in 3/4 time, which is also called waltz time. All right, so let's start out with some real elementary stuff. Now, keeping in mind that strumming is almost like an art form where you have to marry the mechanics of strumming along with the feel. And I'll make a separate video all about this concept of feel because it's kind of important. But we don't want to make strumming harder than it has to be. And that when that happens is because people are usually overthinking it. So we want to be relaxed, and the goal is to become a natural strummer. We want it to feel natural to us. All right, so let's start at the very beginning, all right? The pick. Can't strum without it. Well, you can strum without a pick. You can strum just using your fingernails, but most people strum with a pick. I recommend to beginners that they use a light pick. I started out with a light pick, and even to this day, it's all I use. It's all I'm comfortable with. If I want to get a little more volume out of my guitar, I might try a medium pick. But for the most part, I like a light pick. These are the only ones I use. These are Jim Dunlop light. They have a number after them too, 486, I think, PLT. And I'm not suggesting you go out and get these. But if you don't have any picks lying around and you can find these are some pretty nice ones. Now, most of the picks that you're going to find, regardless if they're light or mediums or heavies, they're going to have some type of either a writing on them or they'll have little dots on them. Some of them you'll see the middles are bored out. This is also you can get a little bit of a grip on your pick. And again, this is just my personal preference. These have the name, the brand etched in on here. I like to put that etch on the pad of my thumb. It just helps it from sliding around a little bit. All right, so this pick. We want to take this pick and we want it to be on a 90-degree angle to our thumb, okay? We don't want to hold it by the end. We don't strum like this. All right, and we want to put it about 2/3 of the way down. I don't know if you can see that there. Yeah, about there, about 2/3 of the way down. You don't want to hold it way up here. That's too floppy, and it's gonna fly out of your hand, and you're gonna get a very little clicky sound. On the other hand, you don't want to do it too close to the point either, because then not only do you not have enough point. I guess I should hold it where you can see it, huh? Enough of a point, but it's going to be stiff and it's going to grab the strings and be really harsh. Okay, So thin pick, perpendicular to your thumb, not too tight and not too loose. Again, we want relax. So just enough to hold it firmly so it's not going to move in between your thumb and your index finger. Because if it's too light, it's going to flop out, and 9 times out of 10, it's going to wind up inside that sound hole. It's just one of those Murphy's Law universal axioms on what happens to guitar picks. All right, the next thing about your pick is when we strum a downstroke, we want the angle of the pick to be slightly upward, not too exaggerated. I mean, you don't need to go for a 60 or a 45 degree angle, somewhere between parallel to the ground and maybe 30 degrees. Again, don't overthink it. Just a slight upward on the downstroke. And then conversely, just a very slight downward angle on the pick for the upstroke. So it's okay, slightly down, slightly up. All right, now, next bit. When we strum, we use both our wrist and we use our elbow. There's no way around it. You have to use both. Now, strumming, try to go about 60 to 75% with the wrist and about 25 to 40% if you want to break fractions down into 100% with the elbow. So both are involved, but it's mainly the wrist. And you don't want to get too mechanical about this. There's two extremes. You've got the robot, which is all elbow, and you're doing this. That's unnatural. We don't want that. On the other hand, end of the spectrum, we have what we call the egg beater, which is just 100% wrist. So all you do, you wind up, they're doing this. Okay, you're gonna hurt your wrist after a while doing this. So again, circle back, natural. You want just a motion that feels natural and comfortable. Strumming should be comfortable and it should be natural. Okay. The other thing is we want one fluid motion when hitting the strings. This is not a strum. This is a strum. This is something called an arpeggio. When you go after individual strings. We're not going to do that. We're strumming, okay? Natural. The other thing is, you don't need to come up so high that you smack yourself in the chin or bang yourself on the knee. You know, you don't need to come all the way up here and all the way down here. You just want a natural movement. You want to come up on your upstrokes high enough to clear the sixth string, and on your downstrokes low enough to come down below the first string. Now you don't have to focus in on half an inch above and below. Again, that's not what we're after. We want to keep things nice and smooth, nice and natural, okay? The next thing now is really important, okay? And it's going to happen to you. You're going to do this. It's unavoidable. You have to keep your strumming hand moving at all times. Strumming is a constant motion, regardless of what's going down here at the business end of your fretting hand. When you're forming chords, when you're strumming, your hand is always moving up and down, whether you're hitting the strings or not, whether you're doing a downstroke or an upstroke, or you're missing the strings, your hand is always in motion. Okay? Another thing that you might find will help you develop your strumming is by practicing along with a metronome. A metronome can help keep your hand going in a nice, even, steady rhythm. Let me demonstrate this. I'm going to start a metronome. I have this on 60 beats a minute, and this is all it is. So you can hear that. Then I'll start my hand, my strumming hand, in concert with the metronome. Up and down, staying in time with the beat of the metronome. Focus on keeping your hand, your wrist, and your elbow all working in concert together, nice and smooth, not stiff. Okay, you don't even have to play chords. All right, so give that a try. Practice that. It'll help. Like I said, it'll help you keep and develop a nice natural rhythm. Turn that off. So that's the very introductory bit about good form in our strumming. Now we're going to get in and we're going to talk about actual strumming patterns.